Hello, everybody out there in virtual land. Welcome to another episode of Learning Chess. And today we are going to talk about the value of the pieces. Now, in chess, you do not win the game by points. You win the game by checkmates. So then, why do we even care about how many points are the pieces worth? Well, because that lets us know whether or not we should take a piece. First, let's talk about the value of each of the pieces. All the pawns are worth 1 point. The rooks are worth 5 points. The knights and bishops are worth 3 points each. And the queens are worth 9 points. One more time. The pawns are all worth 1 point. The rooks are worth 5. The knights and bishops are worth 3 points. And the queens are worth 9 points. Now, the reason why we want to know the value is so that we know whether or not we should take a piece. If we're in a situation where we could lose a piece, we want to know that, if I take this piece, will it be the same value as my piece? Will it be a greater value? Will it be a lesser value? And that helps us know whether or not we should take a piece. For example, let's say I move this pawn up, and then black decides to move their knight out. And then I move my pawn up, and then black decides, let's just say, to move another pawn. I have the opportunity to take the knight. Now, if I take the knight with my pawn, I probably will lose my pawn because it can get taken. But since my pawn is worth 1 point and this knight is worth 3 points, if I take the knight, I gain 3 points. If my opponent takes me back, they gain 1 point. So while I took 3 points, they gained just 1 point. I came out with a better deal. If we have a little bit more of a complicated situation, sometimes chess players like to do this. Move out the pawn. Let's just say there. Then I move out this pawn. Move out this pawn here. And then you move the rook up here. A lot of times, chess players that are beginning to learn, they like to bring out their rooks and their queens. Because the rooks and the queens, they move in up and down or side to side forms. And the rook can go, the queen can go diagonally. And so they're easy for us to think about how to move versus just moving a bishop or a knight. But when you move your rook out early in the game, chances are it's going to get taken early in the game. Now, if you take a look here, I've opened up a path for the bishop to come and to take this rook. Now, the rook is worth 5 points. The bishop is worth 3. What do you think? Do you think that the bishop should take the rook? Yeah, I would. If it was me, I definitely would go ahead, and even though I'm going to lose my bishop, I take the rook. I get 5 points. My opponent takes me back. They get 3 points. If my opponent got 3 points and I got 5 points, how many more points did I capture? That's right, 2. So now I'm up 2 points. It just lets us know whether or not we should take a piece. You also might get into a situation where at first you may lose points, but then you may gain those points back. Or it may be what we call an even trade. An even trade is when you switch or when you take a piece that's worth the same amount of points as the piece that you're giving up. For example, if I have this knight here, and let's just say that this bishop is here, and let's say it's white's turn, or red in this case. And red is thinking about taking the knight. But if red takes the knight, black will take the bishop. But if red takes the knight, red gains 3 points. Black also gains 3 points. That's called an even trade when you have exchanged the same amount of points. Now, the good thing, though, where red really gained was in positioning, because now you have doubled up pawns, and we don't like to have doubled up pawns in chess. So whether or not you want to take a piece, if it's the same value, will depend on what you want the board to look like. If you know that if you take a piece that's of the same value, will you kind of mess up their protection? And that's something to think about when you're playing chess. You definitely do not want to take a piece that is of lesser value without either breaking up your opponent's protection or getting something else in exchange. Here's an example. If I bring the queen here and I could take this pawn with the queen, I gain 1 point. But my opponent, if they choose to take the queen with their queen, they just gained 9 points. Something you don't want to do, because now I lost a queen and I didn't really gain on positioning or anything else. And this is the reason why we care about the value of the pieces, so that you know whether or not you should take a piece. So next time that you're playing chess and you have the opportunity to take your opponent's piece, think about how many points you're going to lose or gain in that exchange. All right, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Till next time. Bye.